Nick, Nick, how you doing, Nick? Do.
What?
All right, guys, how's it going?
Oh, it's on the headset. I'm shocked.
What now? It's going to play COD, but an update. Fucking updates.
Playing a bit of Coddington, are we?
No, I wanted to, but there's an update.
Ah, right. Well, we're here a little bit early for a change.
I'm always here early.
More.
Sometimes I'm here, but I just don't come on because
Just here in spirit.
Shit. Yeah, there's just always something going on. Isn't
Yeah.
there?
How you doing?
I'm Twitter famous.
Oh no, mate! I can't believe how many people have looked at your tweet.
Yeah, 31,000. I'm rich.
Is it?
Yeah, 31,000 now. No
Bloody
one's had a
hell.
go at me yet, though. That's quite weird. I never normally get this much attention without doing something wrong.
Yeah, someone's usually going to get upset.
Oh, maybe there is. I don't know. There's so many.
Oh, CGZ Wolfman is following. Hello. And is subscribed with Prime. Thank you very much.
I think it's funny that I've had like
Had what, mate?
all those people, like 32,000 something things, 300 like retweets and likes. Yeah, I've had like one new follower.
Are you riding the teacups, Nick?
What does that mean?
He sounds alright.
Like you go going in and out, like the sort of going quiet and then sort of getting louder and then going quiet.
I think I'm alright, innit?
He sounds alright to me.
Alright, might just be my ears or headset. It's usually Stunty that does that. That goes in and out.
Yeah, I'm just looking at your Twitter now, Nick. 31,600 views on your tweet.
Yay!
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a throwaway comment. I normally put effort in.
Well,
I
perhaps
say I put effort in. I retweet competitions. Yeah, I was like, please, Game Collection, give me something. Give me a game so I don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, I'll turn this music off.
Saying that, the Game Collection, who are giving away a game,
Yeah.
they're not getting that many, and that's a legitimate company giving away a game.
Well, there we go.
Oh, I mean, it is Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster, so maybe that's why.
Well, it's an old game now, eh? Obviously, the original one.
Oh, it's the remastered jobby version.
Yeah.
Like everyone's retweets, what could be popular?
Well, I retweeted and liked your tweet anyway.
Yay! I have no idea what I get for this. Nothing.
Nothing.
No, nothing. You have to be verified to earn cash. I think, and it's just something to do with like the interaction you get, which kind of I can understand now. So there's people that make money by saying like weird, controversial shit because that's going to get a lot of interaction.
Clickbait, innit?
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, Nick, your tweet was a little bit clickbaity, wasn't it?
It's factually correct, though. Was I wrong?
Only took 6 years, a £500 PS5 and a £700 PS5 Pro, and we finally got the puddles we were promised. I mean, I love it. I thought it was a fantastic tweet.
Yeah, that's right.
So people are getting their PS5 Pros this week as well, aren't they? I've already seen
Some people have had them
Thursday.
early.
I've seen an unboxing video on YouTube today.
Yeah, the embargo went up on those today.
Yeah,
I've seen a few people have them, which is cool. That's why some of the the setting that's on there that just makes all PS4 games run. Well, they say better. I'm not sure how much better is better, but
yeah.
The hilarious thing is I remember like a lot of people obviously saying the obvious, where it's like, look, we know what the console looks like. We don't particularly need an unboxing. We want to know what the games look like.
Well, I didn't realise that
Well,
they'd made a PlayStation 5 that's smaller than the one I've got.
Yeah, slim.
So it's like,
the Slim, yeah.
so I saw a video, and it had a comparison of all the PlayStations, and my original day one PS5 is bigger than the Pro.
Yeah.
Oh,
And heavier as well.
That's
Is that the
insane.
Digital Foundry one you watched? Because that's the one I watched.
No, it was Spawn Point. Someone called Spawn Point. I have no idea. Who
Oh,
that
right,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a comparison. Yeah, so here, right, I don't know if you're watching the stream or not. Like, you've got on the left the PS5 Slim, and in the middle the PS5 Pro, and then on the right the big fat PlayStation, which I've got. Well, I thought that was I often think that's nuts.
Mm.
So that's what you get for buying consoles on day one. You get the big fat ugly version.
To be fair,
I don't know, because when you were buying handhelds, like all of the follow-up handhelds have generally been worse quality, so you might as well get the
some of
day
them.
ones. Because you get
Like
the OLED models, didn't you?
Yeah, the
with Sony
Vita was
stuff,
better,
and then,
but then the
and the
PSP.
PSP.
Yeah, but the Game Boy Advance, when they went to the SP, that was better than the chunky. I know,
Yeah, I
slightly
suppose
different
with
because that was
Nintendo,
proper
yeah.
that was backlit as well, wasn't it? So it's only recently they've made them. But the thing is, they used to make them smaller but cheaper.
Yeah. Well,
And it's
now they're
still the
making
same
smaller, but
gubbins
more
inside.
expensive. Yeah.
They're just well, they've made them cheaper to make, but they charge you more for it, which is hilarious. I remember there's the dude last year on YouTube. I can't think of his name. He's something Evan something,
Right.
and he's fairly big. And he did like literal teardowns where he took them all apart. And yeah, he did clickbaity title. It was the new PS5 Slim is worse ? And he said
Oh.
basically they've cut the size of the heatsink down in the in the Slim by like 2/3 or something.
Okay.
He's just said, it's running like 2 degrees hotter out the back than the standard version. Whether or not in long terms that could be an issue, we don't know. The motherfucker got death threats.
What?
He got actual death threats in real life. They went to like his office, like, was trying to fucking fight him because it's like, well, I just said the heat sink's a little bit smaller, so maybe hang fire buying one today and see if we've got any of the, if there's any of them catching fire or anything. But yeah,
What I've only just noticed as well on these PlayStations, I'm just looking at this, like, the original one's got a USB port on the front and the other ones don't. They're all just USB-C ports.
I thought they're all USB-C. They're just further down.
Well, no, because like on the Slim and the Pro, it's got two USB-C ports, yeah. And then on the original fat PlayStation, there's a normal USB port, and then I think that's a USB-C next to it.
What was just?
I know you're not supposed to plug actual like proper USB stuff into the front ports. It's just for the controller charger.
Right.
I have no idea. It just annoys me the fuck because I still have no idea which one is the turn off and which button is the eject button. So
I'll do it all on my controller.
It's a 50-50 chance.
Well, that's solved on the new one, isn't it? Because since the disk drive is optional, the eject button's actually on the drive, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I suppose so. Maybe
But,
I suppose that's
yeah.
both of them in it, but
yeah, but us old school gamers, mate, the buttons
are
on the thing, yeah.
Two black buttons. I don't know which one does what.
Well, you could get a little sticker and have different colours, couldn't you? And put them on.
I'm not putting stickers on my PlayStation.
Oh, excuse me.
Well, been there, done that. Remember, you used to get those sticker sets in like magazines and stuff that you'd put on the old PS1s.
On the memory cards, man. I've still got my Final Fantasy. I think it's Final Fantasy 8 memory card stickers, and I've still got the memory cards actually in a drawer somewhere.
Oh, I don't mean just the stick. I meant you used to get ones that cover the entire console, like the memory cards.
Yeah.
Which were cool, But then once you used your PlayStation for like a few hours, the heat would just make the sticker melt, so it would just peel off.
Oh, I never experienced that personally, but
But you never put the
Yeah,
stickers
I
on.
remember for a laugh back in the day, when I had a couple of dodgy Saturn games.
oh yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was a good idea to basically make my own covers for the discs.
Oh no.
But then I attached them to the discs with spray mount, which is not the best thing because it's kind of like an aerosol glue. And as soon as
Okay.
it obviously when it's been in the system spinning around for a bit, it was all like peeling up.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Mm,
Well, you live and learn, don't you?
exactly.
See, I used to just write on mine with a Sharpie. Job done.
That looks too tacky, mate. I wanted to. I printed out my own covers and stuff for them
Wasn't
and
the
that.
Saturn like the hardest console to pirate for anyway?
It
Oh no, it
was.
was. Oh no, not the Saturn. Sorry, the Dreamcast.
Oh, the
Ah, yeah.
Dreamcast was a piece of
Yeah.
piss, wasn't it?
Yeah, Dreamcast. They fucked that with. You could do that within a day, couldn't you? They were like, mill CDs. Oh, we just set it to mill CD and burn. Thank you. Done.
Oh, yeah.
All for about 7 actual mill CDs that were available in Japan. So they put fucking idiots. They didn't do themselves no favours. Some of these, did they?
No, definitely not.
Right, should we get started? Because I don't want to be on too late again.
That's all right. I've not played a lot of games this week anyway because I've been busy. So,
Me either.
and there's not been loads of news, but there's been a little bit that I want to talk about. But yeah, we will get going. So, what are we on episode? I did write this down. What was last week's episode number? 230. So a 231. Okay, and a 3 and a 2 and a 1. Hello and welcome to 360GamerCast, episode 231 for Tuesday, the 5th of November, 2024. I'm your host, Mark Webb, gamertag Pearson ID, Steam ID, Webby360G, and joining me today is...
I'm Twitter famous. Nick Fights.
And Sensei Switch.
I just want to say before we get on to Nick being famous, remember, the 5th of November. Gunpowder, treason and plot. Happy Fireworks Day, everybody. Oh,
And
yes.
happy election.
Screw Guy Fawkes. Where's my Tesla?
Oh, yeah, and happy election day to our American friends. And hope
I'm sure it'll go down quite quietly and quite reserved.
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm predicting Trump's going to win. And then, but if he doesn't win, there'll be accusations of the election being rigged.
Which it was last time.
Yeah, it was like last time. It was so kosher, wasn't it? All those
Yeah.
mail-in votes and stuff during the
Yeah.
COVID lockdowns.
They still don't have ID to vote. I mean, we actually have ID to vote here, and pretty much everywhere else.
That's insane.
Well,
Like
it's
not
just the
having
excuse
voter
that
ID.
they've used as well, which is, oh, black people will find it hard to get ID. I'm like, did she literally just say that out loud?
Well. The weird thing is, right, in America, of all places, you need ID to do anything. Go into a bar,
buy alcohol, buy a gun.
have a I mean, most people are driving at like 15, 16 years old, so pretty much everyone's got a driver's license.
14 in some states.
Yeah, so that's a pathetic excuse, really is. But also, I did see a video before we get into games. I've seen a couple of videos. So basically, America's a weird place. So they've got electronic voting machines, and I saw some videos of people trying to vote for Trump, and then it was ticking Kamala. When you actually saw them pressing the button on Trump, so all these videos have gone viral, and I'm like, I said to Colin, I said like, why don't you guys use paper votes like we do in the UK? I don't get
register,
it.
go to your place at a certain time, present your ID. They check you off the list that you've actually come in and voted, and then you just go to your ballot box thing, fill it out, and drop it in. Job done.
Yeah.
You're in and out in like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's
remote.
easy. But no, they have to make it complicated, don't they? Because it's America.
I mean, to be fair to everyone involved, both candidates are fucking idiots. And how a country like America can end up with people like they've had in charge.
Go on, Nick. They've only got like over 250 million people in that country, and they're the best two for the position.
Yeah. I mean, look, saying that, our lot ain't much better, are they?
No,
I mean,
no.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, let's move on from politics and get into video games. So Nick is famous today. Wanted to give Nick a big shout out. If you don't follow Nick on Twitter, his Twitter handle is @NickFights. Nick did a tweet today that's had over 31,500 views. Famous, mate, you're famous. Basically, it says, only took 6 years, a £500 PS5 and a £700 PS5 Pro, and we finally got the puddles we were promised. And has a picture of Spider-Man 2 with some nice puddles. That's a lot of views, mate. And you haven't really had any hate either, which I'm really surprised about.
Not because I'm correct. You can't have people be horrible to you if you're correct.
Yeah.
I mean, when was that? 2017 and then 18 when they downgraded Spider-Man on PS4. I mean, maybe they'll remake Watch Dogs soon, Ubisoft, and then they'll actually make it look good as good as it did like 15 years ago. Oh, you showed my picture. It's a good-looking guy,
That's a good-looking guy. Well, someone's put a picture of you on there. I don't understand why someone's put a reply with your photo. Something about, only promise you need is your lost hair. You haven't lost any hair. You're not bald, are you?
No, Webby, why are you now telling me there is hate in the comments? You've opened up this can of worms.
Oh, I know. Well,
that's probably just gone in.
And I mean, let's be honest about it. That guy underneath has put a gif of Steve Harvey. How the hell do I look like that guy?
You're fine, mate. You're fine. So yeah, no, that's
I'll take that. He's funny as hell.
No, it's good, mate. It's nice because I don't really go on Twitter a lot these days, and I went on it today, and I thought, it literally just popped up, and I was like, "Well done, Nick. That's fantastic." So yeah, it's good, mate. I'm very happy for you. So it's like when you go onto trending, you see on my right hand side I've got trending PS5 Pro, and then when I looked earlier, you were at the top. Yeah, you're second one down on the thing. So PS5 Pro in brackets, and you're the second one down. How cool is that?
I'm more worried about my apparent baldness. I don't know who it is.
No, you're not bald.
That'll be someone who knows me, though, I would say.
See, the tweet above you has had 54,000 views, and he says, why I'm buying a PS5 Pro, none of your business. Honestly, none of your business. Why are you so obsessed with me? It's my money. Leave me alone. But jokes aside, it's none of your business. Like, come on, mate.
Oh, there's some stuff on Twitter that's like you'd have to go right back to like Cro-Magnon man to find some intelligence that people put in tweets that get millions of views sometimes.
Yeah.
And you just think, Jesus wept.
I know, mate. It's cray on the hay. Anyway, let's get into some of the games we played this week. I've not played loads. Nick has played a game. Like I actually played a game with Nick this week, which was immense, wasn't it, Nick? It was good times.
When it worked.
Yes, it didn't work for Peebs too well, did it? We need to talk about this. So Nick subscribed to 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate. Well done, Nick. And he decided to download some Black Ops 6 and join the Webmaster 3000 on this because I am a pro Call of Duty gamer. Good times, mate.
I thought Marcus was playing before you.
Well, I was top of the leaderboard most of the times. Now, the elephant in the room, though, Peebs, also on the Xbox, he's having some issues with this game, and it only seemed to be him. We'd play a round, go back to the menu, and then we'd load into the next game, and he'd be like, guys, as the game started, and we'd be like, yeah, we're running around poning noobs, and he's like, oh, all I've got is a black screen. And you can see his character standing there, and when Peebs moves the controller, his dude is turning around and stuff, but not actually walking anywhere. But Peebs can't see the screen, and it's a black screen. So after every game, he'd have this, or he'd have to hard reset his Xbox.
Did he try turning his telly on and off? Because I know sometimes certain TVs might not like the signal input that's going in or whatnot. I don't know. But that might be an issue to try and fight it.
So,
I think when you press the home screen, the thingy come up, if you know what I mean.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, to be fair, Webby, I played a little bit today, not like the campaign and stuff, and when I got in, I just had a complete black screen as well. Not like
Oh, right.
in a game, but just nothing would load, so I had to restart like the app. So I think it came in on auto resume, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah, that
Like
does
quick
fuck.
start or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So I cancelled that and went back in, and it was fine. But I mean, it literally just did an update, like I said, about half an hour ago. So maybe they've updated that on Xbox.
Well, I hope so. And I think this is a problem with quick resume. I mean, it's great for single player games, but for multiplayer, always online games, it's annoying because you load up COD and it'll say, "Oh no, it needs to restart anyway" when on the quick resume, and then it fucking takes ages. I don't know why there isn't an option to like just to press start on your game on the dashboard and to turn the quick resume option off. It'd be such a simple thing and just make people's lives a lot easier, or an option in your settings just to turn quick resume off completely, because I've even had it fuck up a few single player games in my time. So
yeah, I had
just
that
give
with
people more options. Yeah.
what was it, Watch Dogs 3?
All
Like
right.
completely lost. I don't know if that was anything to do with the quick resume, because I think that's on PlayStation as well. But
Yes.
but I think that was mainly Ubisoft, and you couldn't do any manual saves. It was just auto saves.
Oh,
Right.
that was
Okay.
one of the like stupidest things I've actually seen in gaming recently, like that not having manual saves on Watch Dogs 3.
I think even to this day, I think, is it Battlefield 4, one of the launch titles on Xbox One? If you use auto resume, it just wipes your campaign save. So every time you reload, if you don't like log out of the story and turn it off, if you try and auto resume, it starts the campaign again and or overwrites your save to the beginning.
Oh, well, that sucks balls, doesn't it?
And they never fixed it.
Oh dear. But apart from those issues that Peeps had, we had a good time, Nick. I think it's definitely the best Call of Duty that's come out for a good few years. I think I mentioned it last week. You know, the movement feels a lot more fluid. The maps are all really good, apart from one, in my opinion. I've noticed that you've been playing the campaign. Have you got many? Have you got far on it? Have you got many thoughts on the campaign at all?
Oh, I've only done, what, 2 or 3 levels.
Okay.
I haven't done too much. I mean, it's COD, the campaign. I mean, I haven't had anything overly memorable so far, like, because you normally get the big set piece bits, and I don't know if do they still do the bit in a game where they put something in it to shock you? Like, where, like going to the airport with the terrorists and
Nah.
things like that,
I
or
mean,
the nuke going off
not
and stuff like that.
really. I don't want to spoil it for you.
Well, I haven't had a warning or anything yet, so maybe
No,
we're not
there
as soft
is
as it used to be.
one level in particular that a few people have mentioned to me that they thought was pretty scary.
You don't feel goal a puppy or anything then?
No. So, but I don't want to spoil it because I know a lot of people still haven't finished the campaign. But it is good, but there's a couple of levels that feel a little bit like, what the fuck is going on? That's all I want to say on it. But overall, it's a great campaign, I feel. Yeah.
So what I did notice, I said to you when we played, like when it do like the kill cams or when it zooms in on your person when you get killed, we were playing as lot as like the default characters, which is I don't know if she's in the story, but it's one of the women characters, and it sort of zooms in at her face as her like eyes start to roll, and she like died, and I'm like, oh, that's a little bit, oh, because as I said, these character facial animations and things like that, they're starting to get a little bit too close to real, aren't they?
Well, it's like when you do the end of the round and you can do your little thumbs up, thumbs down, and their facial expressions are just weird as fuck, aren't they? If you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Some of it looks terrible, but some of it looks
It looks quite realistic. Yeah.
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 I think it's getting instead of being good graphics, it's slightly unrealistic real life. If you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
but I don't mind that. To
Or the
be fair,
Uncanny Valley.
yeah.
Mm.
There was a double XP weekend this weekend, just gone. I was away all weekend, so I couldn't partake in that.
So it's like,
I did notice that a couple of people in the Discord have prestiged now, which is pretty cool. I still haven't because I've not had the gaming time, but I'm about level 49 out of 55, I believe. So I haven't got that far to go. So there is a Chivo for the prestige. I've just been informed in the Twitch by CGZ Wolfman. Hello, welcome, and a big thank you for subscribing. He says that the double XP is extended until the 5th. So if you're listening live on Twitch, it is until tomorrow. If you're listening after the fact, you've missed out. But until Tuesday, the 5th of November.
did I ever tell you guys about my because I think this was the first Black Ops that I played on 360. Did I ever tell you the story about how my sister's godson had come over when I was played the game for about 3 months and I didn't know nothing about prestiging at all?
Oh, right.
So he's like, "Oh, you haven't prestiged yet?" And I went, "What's prestige?" So he just did it, and then I lost all my guns and all my loadouts. I was absolutely furious. I'm like, "Where's my guns? Where's my attachments?" I made that little shit sit there and get everything back.
I know that in this, when you prestige, there is a way. I'm not quite sure on the logistics of it. I know there is a way to bring over A guns stuff, all the unlocks, attachments, and stuff, but I'm not quite sure 100% on how it works. Gavin was trying to explain it to me in party chat last week, but I've forgotten now. But there is a way to do it apparently. So that's quite cool.
At least remember what it was, so then you can look in settings and try to, you know, unlock the stuff again. But
Well, in
that's the
this
thing
day
with
and age, you can Google it, mate. Just have a Google.
I know,
As I'm just vaguely remembering a conversation.
but I meant just in general, that you get the guns you're more comfortable with and the sights and certain things, and you thought, oh yeah, this seems good, and you get, because there's so many different combinations with God, isn't there?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, but this seems fun. I'll enjoy playing this for the next few months.
Yeah, it's good, mate. Have you downloaded anything else off Game Pass since you only just resubbed the other day?
Modern Warfare 3's campaign.
Oh right, okay. Oh mate, you should have played that before this one because you're going to be massively disappointed.
Oh, massively disappointed for COD campaigns for ages.
Oh well, there we go.
Yeah, but it's just constantly every time they bring a campaign out, just all the reviewers keep saying, "Don't bother with the campaign. Nobody plays the campaign." I was like, "Leave the campaign alone."
I like
Yeah,
the Call of Duty
yeah,
campaigns because
I
it's
think
like
most people do.
because they're not long. They're they're normally only about
Yeah,
6 hours or so, and it's like your yearly action movie fix, but in a
yeah.
video game.
I
Yeah.
think what people normally do is play through the campaign like once,
Mhm.
maybe twice, hit multiplayer for the rest of the year, and then maybe do the campaign again before the next COD come out. So if they look at the numbers, they might have spent 20 hours playing the campaign and thousands of hours in multiplayer. So I understand in theory why they wouldn't bother, but that doesn't mean that the campaign isn't as important.
I think the campaigns are very important. Look at the backlash Battlefield had when they launched it without a campaign. There was uproar, and people moan about Call of Duty, but I think the campaigns are usually most years really, really enjoyable. Just for all the reasons I mentioned a minute ago. So, it's great.
Yeah.
It's good to be back, and it's nice for it to be on Game Pass. So obviously,
We had a
don't
few
have to spend
games
some money.
where they kept removing. We had games where they forcing multiplayer into single player games that nobody really wanted, and then they were taking away campaigns out of games that people did want. It's just,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just weird.
And I think the good thing about Call of Duty is once you've completed the campaign, you can uninstall just the campaign from your hard drive as well to claw back like 30 odd gig. So it's
Yeah,
another
that's a good
positive
thing,
as well,
especially like if you install everything at Black Ops, you're talking at well over 200 gig.
Yeah.
And that's not even with, if you have Warzone as well. I'm pretty sure they said if you install all of Black Ops 6 and Warzone, you can't fit it on the standard 500 gig hard drive.
Yeah, the Series S, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
which is
crazy. Absolutely crazy
annoying.
to me. Yeah.
Mm.
Cool. Yes, that's our weekly COD adventures anyway. We've been having fun on it, and I'll be playing some more of it this week, hopefully, at some point if I get some time. Darren, have you played anything at all? Anything new? Anything awesome? I know you're saving yourself for the pro a little bit, aren't you? But
Yeah, I mean that has been one of the things the past, like most of the weekend I just sat there kind of just gurning and not really playing anything because it's like I want to start this, but I might as well wait for the new console.
yeah,
I might play that, but I might as well wait for the new console. So I was just basically, I didn't really play much at all over the weekend whatsoever.
don't you have a Didn't you slap an extra NVMe drive into your PS5?
Yeah, I've got a four Terra
So
in there.
why don't you
So
put all the game, like your new games you wanted to play, on that, and then you literally just unplug it into the Pro and away you go?
because when it gets plugged into the Pro, it will need to be reformatted.
Really? I thought you could just plug it in and it'll go.
No, as far as I know, they need to be reformatted. If not, it's a bonus, but I'm not putting anything else on there just in case that's the
I
thing.
wouldn't have thought it would need to be reformatted just to go into another console. That doesn't make much sense to me, to be honest.
Mm.
Well, you would, if not,
But yeah, I
someone
had
could
to
just take the
reformat it when I
game.
first put it into the 5 anyway.
The same Webby, so you could just download loads of stuff on someone else's account and then plug it into a hard drive
No,
on
because
an offline
it'll need your
PS5.
account, right? It will sync in, and then it syncs to your account.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
but
it
Yeah.
is synced to the account. Plus, they're all disc games anyway, so you'd
oh,
need the disc
yeah, but I think you're right. I
for them
think
to
it's synced to
activate.
the console as well. I think it would format it when you put it in new.
It'd be interesting to
Um,
know.
So, yeah, I'm envisioning having to basically reinstall all of those games that are on the stick. So I've moved over the most important ones onto the internal. So I'm hoping they still allow you to do like a system transfer,
Right. Okay.
which
what
I'd
were
imagine.
both on the Wi-Fi type thing?
Yeah, like you used to be able to do it through
Like a cable,
like
didn't
an
they? Yeah.
Ethernet. Yeah, the Ethernet to Ethernet. But now I
Yeah.
think it all has to be through Wi-Fi,
So I think that's what they did with my PS4 to the PS5. It
which
just
is good. But
yeah.
if your internet craps out while it's
Yes.
doing it, it's like
But would that be more your Wi-Fi speed of your router than actual internet? If you're
No, you're being internal networks. It's going internal to internal. So
yeah, so it wouldn't
yeah.
matter what speed your internet is, would it?
No.
oh no, I was on about the speed. I was on about your internet shit in the bed while you're doing it.
Oh
Yeah, your
yeah, I was
internal
saying if you
network. Yeah.
had to re-download everything as well. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so reinstalling stuff because like a majority of the games I've got for the PS5 are relatively small anyway. I've got like a bunch of them that are like only like 6-7 gig
Okay.
because PlayStation developers and when they make games for PlayStation, they generally know how to compress data. Whereas on Xbox, they don't seem to give two shits. Because there's a lot of games on PlayStation that I expect to be quite massive that aren't. Like when you consider like Final Fantasy 14, with all its expansions and everything, is like 74 gig.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty impressive, and that's obviously with the new texture update that they did with it. I think before then it was around 45, 50 gig.
Okay.
So yeah, like certain games are still sort of large. I think Silent Hill 2 is actually only 50. So which is kind of cool. Street Fighter 6 might be rather large actually. Let me just check that. 76. So, oh, so yeah, I've been like mainly saving it, but I did obviously play the Monster Hunter Wilds open beta,
Yes.
which ran from Thursday till I think it was like the Friday, was it, or something? Or was it the Wednesday until the what's it? Because they had the PlayStation Plus one, didn't they? And then like about 2 days later, they did the open one for all platforms.
Yeah. That sounds about right. Yeah.
Which ran, I think, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and kind of went out yesterday or whatnot. So yeah, I've played. It apparently says I played it for 5 hours, but I reckon at least 2 of that is probably mucking around in the character creator. To be honest,
It's got quite a
what's
good character creator, hasn't it, Darren? It's quite
it's
in
not
depth.
too bad. Yeah, you can muck around with a fair bit and bits and bobs, but it's mainly all facial.
Yeah.
Because in the Monster Hunter games, you've never really been allowed to alter your body, apart from obviously choose male or female.
Yeah, well, you're always wearing all that gear, aren't you? So.
Yeah, exactly. You basically for your armor sets and things like that, so they don't have to make it all different shapes and sizes and work out how it's going to fit if you're obviously bigger or whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. It kind of dispelled a few things about it that I had going in the fact that I said to you, like, it didn't really seem to have its own identity because all the previous Monster Hunter
Yeah.
games are generally set in sort of like, oh, this is like an icy area up in the what's it? They're all kind of like Inuit people, and this one's set in Japan, and it's all kind of more of a Japanese setting. And obviously, this one it looked like United Colors of Benetton, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, is it going generic fantasy like so many other games are doing?
Yeah.
But then within the opening cutscene, you've kind of like, oh right, we're venturing off into a new area, completely new area, which is all basically like these tribes,
Yeah.
and everything made perfect sense. And I was like, fantastic, I'm down with this completely. And you obviously arrive, and then you're setting up your base and going off hunting some beasties, as it were. There was like 4 monsters you could fight in the demo. So it was like 3 regular ones, and then like an elder. I don't know if it's an elder dragon or whether it's just a dragon. I'm imagining it's just a normal dragon. So it's not going to be like a Kushala door or anything like that sort of a thing. But it was obviously the hardest thing that people could sort of like fight against on it. You've got your own little mount called a sacred or secret. I called it. I think it's supposed to be sacred, isn't it? Like the bird thing you
Yeah.
can ride around on. And it reminded me in a way of like Torrent from Elden Ring,
All right.
because you can pretty much call it to your side at any point. So you can be fighting a monster and you can call your mount in and run around on your mount, hitting it with your weapon, and then jump off your mount onto the monster and stuff as well to help launch different sort of attacks. Also, it's used to switch between your weapons as well. You can now carry 2 different weapons which you can switch between. And you can actually also sharpen your weapon and take potions and things like that while you're mounted. The mount, to me, also acts as a kind of access tool for people as well, per se, like a helping hand, because you've got obviously this big, expansive open map that you kind of go out and venture into. And you can select and highlight things on the map, like pinpoint a location. and then as soon as you've pinpointed the location and you've mounted up, your mount will just automatically take you there.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything. You could literally roll a cigarette or something while the mount's en route, and it will like jump up cliffs and down dales and all that kind of stuff until it takes you to where you want to go. You can increase the mount speed, slow it down, stop it, take over manually. It's just figuring out all the different buttons, because there seems to be a few more different buttons in this one than in the last, and a few other little sort of tricks and tips. The only downside I generally have is the fact that you can, at the moment on console, with what we currently have, with just like the base PS5 and the Xbox One version, I imagine, I didn't try it on that. You've got obviously visual mode, where the game looks nice but runs like shit, or you have performance mode, where the game plays well and runs well but looks like shit. And you really notice in this, where you sort of in the camping area where everyone starts. I'd say in performance mode, I'm interested to see what the breakdown's going to be if Digital Foundry or anything do it, but it was sub 1080, I guarantee it.
Oh, it is, yeah.
And then there was a time when I was possibly in there, it might have been when I was even speaking to you, Webby, where it kind of went almost like sub 480.
Yeah.
It looked awful, like
Yeah.
simply awful, because there's obviously he was trying to render in all the different players and that in the hub, which I think's a bit excessive, having 100.
Yeah, I have seen some. I did see some mentions of 540p at times.
Yeah,
Which
it
is
goes
like
horrendously bad.
PS1 N64 type error resolution, which is
Mm.
weird because I was playing it on PC. I did the first, I did the single player bit, got to the base, and then went and did the first kind of mission boss. And my PC's not cutting edge by any means. I've got a 3080, which came out in like 2020, and we're on like, the 40 series cards, and the 50 series is out soon. Running the game at 1440p, but I had everything maxed out and it ran really well. It looked nice. It was smooth. Actually very impressed actually with the game, with the way it looks and plays and stuff. And, I had a few worries myself when I was looking at the initial trailers, but it looks like an impressive game. Now, the only thing for me, like, and the other positive for me, just on that note, is also the map's been vastly improved since the previous ones as well, which I really like. It
Yes
just
and
looks,
no. I mean, it's going to be interesting because this is obviously just one of the areas,
yeah,
because it is kind of small. Fair enough. You've got like parts where it goes quite high up. I was like exploring the map a little bit, but like I said to you, Webby, it's pointless doing a lot because you were locked out of pretty much everything in the demo. You couldn't craft anything or cook anything really. So it was like there's no point going out and gathering all these items and materials and looking for them if you're not going to be able to use them.
yeah,
So it's like you pick up armor spheres and things like that from some of the fights, but you couldn't use them.
yeah. Okay.
Uh,
I mean, the thing is, like, I mean, I don't think it's a game I'm going to buy purely for the fact that the games that I've tried to get into the last couple of ones, and me and you did actually have some good co-op sessions on World, I think it was.
yeah, I mean, we tried
Um,
setting up a multiplayer on this, didn't we? We couldn't.
yeah, we
We
did.
could get into the same lobby, but we couldn't get into the same party or anything like that, and it was kind of like what?
Yeah, it was a bit.
And to be honest, the multiplayer aspect was from World as well it was shit. Like there's
Yeah,
no other word for it. It was shit. Like you couldn't join people on story missions or things like that. Until they'd gone in on their own and watched the cutscenes. Like it's like what the
yeah,
hell is this bollocks? Like we never even had that kind of issue from like way back in the day. Like
yeah,
on previous like things, you could do online play on the Vita using their silly, not the Vita, the PSP, using their online weird thing. Then easier,
Yeah,
than what it was to connect to stuff nowadays.
I know. Yeah, whereas on this one we could see each other, but we couldn't get into a party together, so we just kind of gave up in the end.
No, yeah, because as soon as you go out of that front of the cave of your encampment, you're basically pulled into another instance,
Yeah.
per se.
Yeah, so but it's just for me, it's not just that, it's just that I find the hunts, like, I think it's just a personal thing, they just take too long for me, and the movement's just quite slow, and it just takes ages to kill a monster, and this is something, and this is an issue I've had for many games now, and it's just I get too impatient, and I just like, fuck this, you know what I mean? But apart from that, you know, graphically it's gorgeous and it runs really well. So I think if you're a fan of Monster Hunter, as you are, Darren, a massive fan, I think you'll be quite impressed, quite pleased with the full product, I think.
Like the presentation was pretty flawless. I like the way after creating your character and your palico, which is your cat. I found out actually it's in the character creator web where you can switch the voice back to like that
Yes, yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
stuff. Because obviously otherwise your cats or palicos now talk,
Yeah, I've
which just
seen
seems
that. Yeah,
really
it's
weird.
weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, the voices are all kind of cutesy and stuff, I guess. And like when you're loading the game up, you see yourself and your companion cat, like in the thing, and then you walk out, and then it does the landscape, and the title comes up. So it's like your kind of characters involved in all of the presentation and everything. But what this has actually taught me now is the RE engine is a beautiful engine. It's not good for open world games. Please stop using this engine for your open world games, because this is the second open world game you've now made with the RE engine, which has massive performance issues on console.
Yeah.
The first being Dragon's Dogma 2,
I'm
where
surprised they
you
don't
also
just
had
use
the thing
Unreal.
of like, oh,
Yeah.
it runs well, but looks like shit, or looks great and runs like shit. It's like you've got that classic kind of what's going on. I've apparently seen, I don't know how true it is or not, there is apparently a few videos of the game on someone having an early version of the Pro and playing it.
Oh, okay.
Although the Pro, it's not like a Pro enabled demo, but it did look like it ran a lot smoother and it didn't look like dog shit.
Excellent.
So that's a game that's almost like fingers crossed, because it needs some work, because you can't have it drop into like sub 1080. Like, not in today's day and age for a
Yeah.
game that's
Yeah.
just like that's like, if your game does that, go back to the drawing board and sort it out, mate, because that's not going to fly. I don't care what type of game it is, nobody really wants to put up with that. And everything else about the game, and the visuals are great, so you want to see the visuals for what they are, not
A blurry
like
mess.
looking like like a blurry mess, like you're
Yeah.
sort of looking through Vaseline or something on your
Yeah.
TV screen.
Yeah.
And then obviously there were some people with the PC version that were having issues. Like, if you want to laugh, go on the Monster Hunter Wilds tag or MH Wilds tag on X or whatnot, and you'll see like sort of screenshots that would make the Assassin's Creed Unity developers laugh, of like these
Awesome.
horrendous abominations kind of
Yeah.
thing, where the faces haven't loaded in properly. It's all weird. So, but yeah, I'm guessing it's an early build. It's people were saying it's kind of the same build they had from demos at Gamescom and stuff. So
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, to be honest.
yeah, they do it a lot, and the game's still at least 3 months away. So
Yeah, there's plenty of time for them to iron out any
mm.
performance issues anyway, so I wouldn't worry too much. But no, I think it's all quite positive, to be fair, which is nice to see. Right, shall we move on then?
Indeedly, yep,
Indeedly
move
do,
on. Yep.
indeedly do, indeedly do. Okay, so talked about blobs. I'm not going to talk about the meta. I've written it down the metaphor demo, but I've not played it enough actually to talk about it again. So I'm going to skip it this week, just because. Okay, I have played a new release this week. after Nick let me know that this had come out, and then Peebs was started to play it and was raving about it. Shadows of the Damned Hella Remastered.
Right, classic. I did love this back in the day.
Yeah, man. I love this on the Xbox 360. Classic, just classic 360 fun. You know, like the 360 era of games to me is one of the greatest era of video games of all time.
It's before live service became a thing and like everything had to be like a 40, 50 hour plus game.
Yeah, but it's also like some of the stuff in this I don't think they would really make these days. It's like when you watch Friends and you're watching it and you're thinking, yeah, they wouldn't be able to get away with making that now. It's the same with Shadows of the Damned, because the humor is like proper toilet humor. You know, there's lots of dick jokes in there and lots of references, like your dude's called Johnson, ha ha ha, American slang for a penis. There's a character called One Eye something. It's like meant to be like a Jap's eye, another cock joke. And then there's a scene where he holds it where his cock is like the gun, and then it extends really big, and they make more jokes. Silly things like that, right? And there's lots of scenes where his girlfriend's in lingerie, which I wouldn't really be doing on these days either. Graphics wise, though, I don't think they've really done anything to it. It looks like how it would look on an Xbox 360, just a little bit sharper, if that makes sense. So it's not a remake by any stretch of the imagination. It's literally the original game. From my eyeballs, the original game, just at a higher resolution. But for me, that's fine, because I picked this up on Steam to play on the Steam Deck, and that's how I've been playing it. Peebs is playing it on the PS5, and he's enjoying it himself. I've only done the first level so far, because I only picked it up on Friday, and I was away all weekend, doing real life stuff, so I didn't play any video games over the weekend. But the hour and a bit I played on Friday on the Steam Deck, I was just giggling the whole time, because the jokes just were so funny. And even like my missus was sitting next to me, and she was like doing something on her phone or whatever. Then she was listening obviously to the audio, and even she was laughing. You know what I mean? So she's like, what are you playing? I was, oh, Shadows of the Damned. And she's like, oh, some of those jokes are really funny. So it's basically, you are like a demon hunter guy. Your girlfriend is killed.
Hotspur, and that.
Yeah. And his girlfriend's killed at the beginning and dragged into hell by some demon. So you go to hell with your little friend, I can't remember what it's called. It's like a little demon. So he's like a little demon, but he's turned good, and he's your mate, and he can turn into a motorbike and stuff like that. And he's quite comical. And yeah, you just go through, and it is very linear. There is some open type areas in it, but it's very very old school. You're kind of funneled down the areas, and then enemies are coming at you, and you're just shooting the fuck out of them. There's nothing really to think about. It's just old school, just having a blast. But it is really fucking weird. Like, you get these locked doors, and there's like babies, like
the strawberries.
Yeah,
you smash the strawberries into their face.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. I was like, this is and then you got to shoot the goats' heads to make it because I got the like candles.
Have you come across the snail? It's like a snail or like an angler fish, isn't it? That plays music that you use to sort of like, you just have to stick near him because he like lights the light through the darkness.
No, I've not.
And obviously, if you go in the darkness for too long, you take damage.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, I've not got that far yet, but no, it's just really funny because it's just weird and fucking as fucked up. Like, as I say, with the babies' heads in the locked doors, you got to feed them strawberries, you got to drink alcohol to get your life back. Really fucking weird jokes. It's just completely bonkers, completely out there.
2 to 51.
Yeah, but it's just one of those like, and the reason I picked it up is one, it was only 20 quid, which is really good because it's one of the reasons why I didn't purchase Lollipop Chainsaw because it's 35 quid. And I've
That's an
yeah,
actual remake, isn't it? It's not a
oh,
remaster.
no, it doesn't feel like it.
What, Lollipop Chainsaw?
Yeah, it just looks like an upres to me when I the version I played. But anyway, cost aside, I think it's just a cool game. It's just you know from the golden era of video games, in my opinion, where there was nothing was politically correct. Games were just fucking weird for the sake of being weird. Loads of sex, guns, and violence. And no one batted an eyelid. Games were made just for the fun times, and you know this is one another reason why I picked up, and it's just really really fun. So yeah, I am very happy. I did pick up a couple of other games as well. I've not played them yet, but just to say, like, because there's a Steam sale at the minute. So, and you'll love these retro games, Darren. Vanquish,
All right, yeah.
to play on the Steam Deck, and one of the greatest RPGs of all time, which I never finished and said was shit at the time, but I really want to play it anyway because I'm weird. Alpha Protocol.
All right, yeah, that's almost become like a cult classic, hasn't it?
Yeah. So it's just because these older type games just run really well on the Steam Deck because obviously they're older. So it's kind of perfect to play these games on a handheld. But no, like, I'm really enjoying this Shadows of the Damned. I say it's a good price. It's the same price on all systems. Check it out, mate. It's really cool.
I got the 360 version off the shelf and it installs on Series X.
Well, there you go.
But they did do the old dodgy where they've which I think they got rid of before, so you couldn't buy the original version.
Yeah. No, yeah.
But it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I bet if you'd have bought this version, the 360, that would have probably been like 20 quid, if not more anyway, wouldn't it?
I don't know, mate.
But yeah, I've looked at some of the screenshots. It doesn't seem that much of a, remake. I think like the original ran at 30 frames. This is at 60, but
Yeah.
looking at the stills, I don't know if you'd know that much of a difference.
No, and as I say, it looks. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I mean, it looks like a 360 game, and in my eyes, that's perfectly fine
it's
to
got
me.
that kind of comic booky grain type thing anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they could actually make the graphics any better than what they were, because it's an art style. So if they tried to make Jet Set Radio look better, it's still a cell shaded thing.
Yeah.
But then this did upset a few people on the old Twitters, didn't it?
Oh yeah, all the SJWs of the world. Yeah.
Yeah, the people that are happy with what was in Dragon Age, they're furious and said that we've made so much progress in the last decade, and they want these people who made the game to, even though they're long retired, they want to rehire them so they can fire them.
What's that? What game's that?
This Shadows of the Damned.
What are people upset about it?
Because it's got good-looking women in lingerie in it, and some of like the dream-ish sequence levels where you're like running.
And they're worried people are going to realise that games were
misogyny and blah 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 and all that crap. And I just think, which no one, like I said this before. They used to get so mad that GTA and things like that and COD were turning, children into killers and stuff like that, and they go on about this sort of stuff. It's just bored people reporting on stuff for clicks, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, they get upset about half-naked women and gore and and violence in games, but they're quite happy for kids to see video games of people cutting their tits off and having transgender scars and all that fucking bollocks. That's quite okay. You know what I mean? It's such a double standard.
Yeah, it's just
But,
whatever suits at the time.
yeah, that's it, mate. But anyway, I've talked about Shadows of the Damned. I think it's cool. Nick, we're going back to you now, mate.
Yeah, I haven't played much more other than a bit. I've played which I started last week, Dead Rising 3.
Okay.
Going
Oh, my
back because obviously,
favourite Dead Rising.
yeah, because there's a new a new one come out recently, which I looked at buying, even though I have the 360 original, which I've barely played, and then they remastered that again for PS4 and Xbox One. But this is another remaster. So that
Oh,
was.
right.
So I'm like, yeah, I'm not paying for that again. But plus, I didn't really like the first one that much because
It's
it was.
probably the worst one. No, actually, no. 4 is the worst one, hands down. But out of the other 3, it's probably the worst one.
So I enjoyed playing it, but I couldn't finish it or get halfway through because it had a weird, and this was built into the game, like a weird save system where you could only save in your like safe house and things like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people
There was
play,
certain areas, yeah.
yeah, but I'm pretty sure, maybe I'm wrong because I know they've updated it for the remaster, but not the middle remaster, where you actually have like which has got in this one. So you've got checkpoints and things like that. So if you die, you don't just go back to the start of the whole game. Because I think that
Okay.
happened to me twice playing on 360. I got up to the first boss, which was a clown, killed that, and then basically it went night time and all, which I haven't had in this one yet, where all the zombies get red eyes and then turn super powerful. And I just got absolutely murdered, and I'm like, wow, I can't just run past and put little Mega Man heads on the zombies and laugh at them this time. I've really got this has turned into a proper, scary sort of zombie game. But back then, so then I died, and then it just went back to the start of the whole game again.
Well, fun times.
Yeah, whereas this one, I think you still do that, but you go back to either your safe house or a checkpoint, like once you've got to another house or area or something like that, which is a lot better in my opinion. I understand people like those sort of permadeath. I don't know if is it roguelike? I can't remember what the
It
term.
kind of was because I still remember I tried to finish the game on my first run originally on the 360
Hmm.
and got really frustrated
Yeah, I
because
did.
obviously the story gets to a certain point and enemies start getting really hard and then you get like weapons start getting involved, like ranged
Yeah,
weapons a lot.
yeah,
And I was just like, how the hell? And then someone at work I remember speaking to a couple of days later and he's like, oh, I finished it. And I was like, all right. And I told him what I was up to, and he's like, "Oh, are you trying to complete it on your first go?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "No. You play
yeah.
through up until where you want, and then when you die, it'll restart you the game again from the beginning, but you'll retain all of your levels and power-ups,
Mm,
basically. And then it's on the second playthrough. I imagine it is doable on the first playthrough, but it's just a
mm,
hell of a lot harder because you haven't got your upgrades and stuff."
mm. Maybe, yeah. And I think I can't remember if it gave you anything, but I think you have to um when you die, and this has gone back to like, launch 360 type games. I think when you get to the end and you die, you either choose to restart the game afresh or restart with your stuff or something. And I think I chose the wrong option to just restart the whole game again
Oh,
without
Nick,
keeping it.
you Noobenstein.
Well, yeah, but I've never had any games like that before or since, really, those types of games. Don't give me difficult decisions to make. I'm just running around looking for all the Capcom references in the game. Yeah, this
So,
this
what did
one's
you get? Which one are you playing? The
three.
newest one?
No, three.
Oh, 3.
Yes, because I fancied playing it. I thought, well, I've got like all the other copies that I've hardly played, so I went to three because I think some of the older ones are just a bit too old. But
Mm.
even this one, I mean, I like it because you play as a bloke called Nick, so that's always got to be worth a 10 out of 10 in my
That's the
book.
one where you're the mechanic, isn't it? You're the
Yep,
Mexican mechanic guy. Yeah, it's probably my favourite one out
yeah.
of all
I
of
mean,
them.
I'm only just doing the main story. I'm not because I think you can like save people or something, can't you? and things like that. And I don't know.
you
And
can rescue loads of people in the games, but there's like in the older games, it was like so like time sensitive. You could only do this at a certain time, so you'd have to sit around. And then if you fucked up, then there were certain things you couldn't access or get to because it had to be at a certain time in the story. And
every
they
so
kind of did
often
away with that in 3, and it was so much better. You could
every so
just take your
often
time with it.
there's like a weird, like a something event or a person event. So maybe that was someone that actually has, proper cutscene storylines. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm just trying to go through the main campaign. Even though this is it's 2013. So still
Wow.
it's still an 11-year-old game. The graphics, I'm like, it's a little bit shitty, but I think you get used to that
It was a launch
pretty
title
quick.
for the Xbox
Yeah,
One.
yeah. But like I said, with those games, I mean, I play a lot of retro games, even older than that. The initial, the graphics look a bit blurry or grainy or whatever. That disappears after 2 or 3 minutes of playing the game, and you just start enjoying it. But there's a few bits, I wrote some stuff down which I've forgotten, but
You
yeah,
get like really nice enemy density as well, don't you? Crowd density
oh
on
yeah,
this one
loads
in
of enemies
comparison to
on
the other one,
screen
yeah.
at once. You're like, wow. And
Jumping
then,
like converted combines and that, and just
yeah, I
mow
get
them
like a
down the
big
high.
steamroller tractor thing and just
That's it,
flattened a
yeah.
lot. And you get like a counter in the corner how many you've killed. I'm up to over I think I'm up to about 1,200 now. And things. I have died a few times, but I haven't. When it's reloaded, I haven't felt like it's gone too far back. But there's a few bits like one of the boss fights. I mean, it's an old school boss fight. Well, I'm not sure it's because I'm crap at games, which is it's probably some of it, but it's like you've got to work out like like what he's going to do, when he's going to do, because there's a guy on a motorbike, and for some reason you have to fight him on foot, and he's got like a steamroller on the front of the bike, and then you think, oh, I know what I'll do, and there's like a dodge button, but you have to
Yeah, I
time it.
remember this.
Yeah, you have to
Near the
time it.
roadblock.
Yeah, you have to time it really well. And if not, he still hits you. But it's one of those things that if anything hits you, your character will just freeze for about 2 or 3 seconds, which is annoying as hell. Even if you're like firing a gun and you run out of bullets, or your hammer breaks, it just goes like ding, and then your character just freezes like a spanner for 5 seconds, and you generally get attacked again. But you do things like that, and like I did the boss. I think I'm on started chapter 3, and I think there's like 7 chapters. So I don't think it's like if you just go through the main bit, it's there. But like I said, this game I think is designed for multiple playthroughs to get all the different endings and stuff like that, or save all the different people. But I mean, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm glad I
I
played a
think there's
game that I had
yeah.
rather than buy another remake of something I already own.
I think 3 might be the one where you fight a guy in like bondage gear in like a BDSM club or something.
More than likely,
Kind of rings a bell.
I think there's a BDSM policewoman as well. But yeah, you
Right.
don't get nothing like you're going to get character designs like that now, do you?
Well, no, they edited the fuck out of the Dead Rising remake.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, I
did
knew they
they?
did that.
Changed a
I knew they
lot
did
of
that
stuff
as
in
well.
that. Yeah, yeah. Anything that might cause offence to people is out, mate.
Mhm. Yeah, but what
Well,
about the people that were offended because you removed it? Do they not count? Because I tell you what,
I
that's
still
probably a
don't know
bigger.
why games just don't have a toggle option like you have with games. Do you want blood on or off?
Yeah, but
Like
everybody.
just do stuff like that. Leave the game
Yeah,
intact or toggle the
yeah,
censorship
yeah,
on for people who don't
yeah.
want it.
But,
I
but
mean, going back to Monster Hunter, there's an arachnophobia option you can turn on, which changes like the spider-like bugs into something completely different.
oh, that's in Call of Duty as well for the zombie
Is
mode.
it?
Yep.
All right, weird.
Yeah. Yeah, because on the
yeah,
zombie mode, after a couple of rounds, you get a wave of spiders.
Oh God.
Yeah, so yeah, there is an arachnophobia mode in Blops. Yeah,
that's fair enough, though, isn't
yeah.
it? I mean, it's nice to have some bits like that, but surely, like deleting and like removing all this stuff from older games, and which is basically censorship. Don't you think that's annoying a bigger percentage than the people who would be offended anyway?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, oh,
absolutely,
100%,
absolutely.
yeah.
You know, because the
There's
people who are offended by that weren't playing your fucking game anyway.
and I still think as well, if you censor a game and people find out that the game's censored, you're going to sell less copies of
Yeah.
the game than by censoring it than you would have if you hadn't censored it.
Well, the good thing about PC gaming is people will mod them back to how they were anyway, won't they? So doesn't help people
Unless
on consoles.
obviously
So.
the developers get the arse and like, oh, we're banning you on this because you've like the God of War ones and stuff like that have come out recently, and can't have that.
Yeah.
Oh, you can have the characters completely naked, but you can't have that.
Well, it's like on so obviously like with Spider-Man on the PC, there was some mods on Nexus mods to replace the.
It wasn't actually a mod though, was it? Well, didn't it just change the region of the
No,
game or the version of the
no.
game?
So yeah. So the Middle Eastern version was the American flags instead of the LGBT flags. However, there was mods on Nexus mods to replace the rainbow flags with American flags, but Nexus mods took that mod off their website and banned the modders who put them on there. Which is fucking insane. I know. It's absolutely insane.
If you want to remove the mods, but to ban the people, I mean, have they not seen some of the fucking mental shit they've got on that Nexus
well, they
mod?
know, but they're very, shall we say, left-leaning.
So you can have ginormous, like, Lady D in Resident Evil with her tits out, fully naked, ginormous asses and tits, BDSM, all that stuff, but you remove a gay flag, you're banned for life.
Yeah. I know. Just want to say hello to Clarky and Dougster in the Twitch. Hope you're doing well. Yeah.
If they want to remove it, fair enough. Remove whatever you want from your website, but don't ban the people for something like that.
Wow. Yeah. It is what it is, mate, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is the world we're living in today. Anyway, Darren, you played anything else?
Yeah, I've played a couple of bits and bobs. So another battle pass has started on Street Fighter.
Okay.
It's still Fatal Fury based.
Yeah.
I think you unlock like a Geese Howard set for your character and some music tracks from some of the older games. There's even actually a vote with the creature in the announcing sort of like arena area that you go to in one of the modes where you can actually vote for your favourite Fatal Fury game.
Okay.
I chose Real Bout Special because I know it is still definitely one of my favourite ones, I would say. Strangely enough, I think Fatal Fury 2, or was it Fatal Fury 2 Special? I think it might have been Fatal Fury 2, the standard one, was like the first fighting game I actually owned for the Neo Geo when I had it.
Oh, wow.
Back in the day.
Nice.
So it's like quite a near and dear series in theory. Apart from that, little bit of First Descendant. Again, I'm waiting for that to have. It's already actually had its pro update, but obviously I don't have the system just yet to test it out to see how that is. Also, Fortnite the other day had its fantastic, the newest update for that, which is like Chapter 2 Remix or something. So they've basically like gone back to some of the original stuff from like way back at the beginning of Fortnite and kind of remixed it about.
Okay.
Battle Pass is absolute dog shit. I'd say it's like the worst one I've ever seen. It lasts about only a month as well, so I think this game mode's only going to be around for a month.
Okay.
And then I think the next season will start for that on the 1st of December. The music one that I play, Fortnite Festival mode, the theme for that this season is Snoop Dogg, which I'm quite happy with. The actual stage at the backdrop changes as well, and this one reminds me of like the Up in Smoke, if you've ever seen that with the low riders and that on stage.
Okay.
And everything. There's only a couple of his tracks there, and none of his like OG ones, like from obviously like the early 90s. we'll say.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's sort
Nice.
of more of his like 2000 sort of stuff.
Okay.
Regulates on there, Warren G though. That was
Okay.
quite a bonus to have added. Um, they need to sort out the updates on the Xbox though. They're fucking terrible.
Well, they're taking ages, are they?
Preparing the update, not even downloading it, preparing it took 1 hour 20 minutes.
That's ridiculous.
And then it took about another 2 hours to download the update because it was about 60 something gig.
Wow.
But it's that preparing because like I know, and like my friend Goose who plays it knows because he has the same thing as well, that if you interrupt or pause it or wonder what the hell's going on while it's obviously preparing, so they're preparing is obviously they're moving the data about to make space to slot in where the new stuff's going to go. That's roughly what I think is going on with that preparing section. But if you interfere with that, you have to reinstall the entire game from scratch.
Oh, how annoying.
So if you pause it or cancel it or do anything because you're like, oh, it's not doing anything, I'll just come out, sort of a thing, then you can end up just fucking it and that you'll have to reinstall the whole thing. I think my mate Goose has had to do it 3 times. He's had to reinstall his whole game,
Oh,
like
for
90
fuck's
plus
sake.
gig.
How annoying.
It's just a pain in the arse, and it only ever does it on the blooming Xbox. Like, no, not really any other games have this issue either. It's just Fortnite.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously so many different things now. It's obviously the Save the World, which is what Fortnite was. Then there's the Battle Royale stuff and the Fortnite Festival stuff, the Lego stuff, the racing,
Yeah.
all of that. So yeah, that's a pain. And just mucking around doing some Space Marine as well still. Here and
Nice.
there, mucking around with the different classes. Again, if you're struggling with parries and things like that with some of the melee weapons in the game, just switch to a fencing weapon. They're not obviously as strong, but the parry window time is a lot more generous.
Okay.
So even when I've been rolling with a sniper and I've literally my only melee weapon is like a combat knife, I've been like parrying the shit out of a lot of Tyranids and stuff, but don't get that joy as much with Chaos because they are actually pretty damn annoying. I think the more I've played of it, as much as I like fighting the Chaos, they're not as anywhere near as enjoyable as the Tyranids because they just hide back, shoot you, and keep teleporting about,
Okay.
which is pretty damn frustrating at times. And obviously Silent Hill 2, I'm waiting to try the third ending on that, but I'm kind of waiting for the Pro to see
Have you see they've
if
put an
that
update
improves the
out?
performance on a bit.
They put an
For
update
what?
out for Silent Hill 2.
What is it?
What?
So you know the lady character in it,
Which one?
the one who looks like his wife or whatever.
Oh right, yes.
I forget her name.
Susie.
There's been an update today where it makes her head smaller, but her boobs bigger. So enjoy that, Darren.
What?
Yeah.
I haven't got. When I checked the thing, I think it updated a little while ago. I think that was actually changed after the people moaning about the initial trailers.
Right.
Because I've noticed Angela. She looks slightly different. Not so slightly different. She doesn't look like a hamster that's storing food anymore
Yeah.
quite so much. But yeah. But yeah, it's always there in the back of my mind. Like I said, that game just kind of gets under your skin.
Yeah. I was happy
And
to
as
complete it
horrifying
and
as it
delete
is.
it.
All right, no, I can't wait to get back into it and explore it even more because obviously there's still some stuff I want to do. I want to finish it with like the radio turned off and look for all the collectibles and like try and do some of the other endings.
Wow. Well, enjoy.
Because it's not one of those games that demands a shitload out of your time either, and it's just so atmospheric.
Yeah. Oh, it's a fantastic game, but I found it just very freaky, and as I say, I was happy when I was done with it. To be fair.
So are you like looking online to see how to get the different endings, or just
I've got a gist of some of the stuff, so I've but obviously ballsed up. The Maria is the one you're thinking about
Yeah.
earlier, who's the
Yeah.
wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mary is his wife. Maria's like the weird kind of fucked up version.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to follow her around. You can't go off and deviate when she wants you to go to the motel and like through that sort of stuff, which I did do on the second playthrough because I was just bombing it because I was trying to do it in a quick as I could. I think to get the in-water ending, you've got to look at Angela's knife a lot in your inventory. And then pick the rotten apple and then go through the door with the rusted gem near the end.
Oh, yeah.
There's some of the theories, because obviously if you pick the ripe apple and then go through the red door and you stick with Maria and protect her and stuff, you're kind of choosing things are rosier on that side, if it makes sense. Like I'm happy with my lot, I'm happy with what I've got, whereas the other way it's kind of like everything's shit, everything's rotten.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Do you play that up to a certain, like, so many hours and, like, have a save there, and when you want to get the other end and start that, or do you just have to start the whole thing again?
I suppose you kind of could, depending where you were going, but you definitely have to play through to get to at least the other side of the first kind of time when you step into the alternate world, which is in the something apartments.
Oh, yeah.
Because obviously it's before you meet Maria, we'll say, and then once you've met Maria, then you could probably do an alternate save. But like I say, you can speed through the game in like about 3 hours or so. So if once you know where you're going and what you're doing, you can kind of just zoom it as much as you want.
Sounds like Simon's first run of the game, doesn't it?
I think he did it. I think he did it in around 8 hours or something,
He
didn't
did,
he?
yeah.
But I'm guessing he was just kind of
Blasting
following the
it.
main story, as it were,
Yeah.
not necessarily like.
Everyone's got
Whereas,
different styles,
yeah,
isn't they? If they
I'm
want
the sort of person that will explore every nook and cranny, try and look in every room, check every locked door, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
depending on the game, I tend to do mostly the main story and then do like loads of side quests and then back onto the main story. And then before the end, when it gives you the whole, oh, if you go past this point in the game, there's no coming back. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm doing all of the side quests before I do this.
Yeah.
And then
I
I
do have
finished it,
to,
and then
yeah.
I've finished the game and can't remember the story because it's been so
I
long.
definitely appreciate games with that thing of like proceeding from this point means you can't go back. I'm a
Yes.
huge fan of that because there's so many games back in the day where I'm exploring everywhere and then you come to a pathway and it
Yeah.
splits and you walk a few steps down one of the, you're like, right, I'll try that way, and it goes straight to cutscene and automatically think I've
Yeah.
gone the right fucking way and now I'm not going to know what was down that other end. Probably a collectible I'm now going to miss.
Yeah.
Woo! One of the things I will quickly add, briefly, going back to the Fortnite Festival, they've actually added a nice quality of life update to that. So above your stars now in the bottom left-hand corner, you've actually got a bar that shows you how long the song goes for. And also it shows you the parts of the song where your instrument is going to cut out. So
Okay.
it'll progress along and then there'll be a gap. So when it's near that gap, you know not to activate your special or do anything like that because you're not just going to waste it.
Yeah.
And also, if you've got special built up and you quickly glance at the bar and you're like, oh shit, this is ending soon, I better activate it. So when you're at the end, you're not like, oh, is it finished? I didn't realise and I've got all this special stored up.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, that was a very good quality of life addition. It's almost something where I would have asked for something similar to that at least. Because it's happened to me loads where I've literally just activated my special and then 2 nights later I'm on like a 10-second like thing where I'm twiddling my thumbs because my instrument cuts out for that period
Yeah.
of the song.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for letting me know that was coming up. I wouldn't have wasted my entire special bar for no reason.
Oh, good times. Lols. All right, back to me then, I guess. I've not really played much else, actually. Played a little bit of Sword Art Online.
Can't wait to get stuck into that when
Yeah,
on Thursday
I
onwards.
bet you can't. Yeah, so I've been playing with Hetro again. So big shout out to Hetro from the Discord community. Did a few games last week and just had a good chit chat. Nice to have a catch up and do a few runs. Still really enjoying the game. It's absolutely fantastic. Apart from that though, I got a little bit back into me baseball this week because the World Series was
Did you
on.
bother with MLB this year?
Yeah, it's on Game Pass, isn't it?
Yeah. I just don't remember you talking about it. That's all.
Well, the problem is it's very niche, isn't it? Especially for the British audience. So I think I briefly talked about it when it came out. But
So it can't have been that long ago.
Well, it was beginning of the year, pretty much March, April time.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was more of a kind of September onwards type of a game.
I can't remember the exact dates, but no, yeah, because the season starts in around March time, so they like to get the game out around April, I think. No, yeah, anyway, so the World Series was on. The Dodgers beat the Yankees. Yes, thank fuck for that. Anyway, so I got a little bit back into me baseball again because I'd been neglecting MLB The Show a little bit because I've just been very busy. So yeah, I've been playing that quite a bit this week. Having a good time on it. Not gonna really say too much about it because it's pretty much the same as all the other ones, just better graphics. But yeah, it has a lot of modes on there. You can make your own character and just play one position with that character, or you can do a mode to manage your team and play as all the people on the field. I quite like doing that for the variety. So yeah, been enjoying that, but also been playing another game which, if you are into, shall we say, Football Manager, I've been playing Out of the Park Baseball, which is Baseball Manager. It's basically like, if it's all stats, all players, doing your trades and stuff like that. It's literally just Football Manager, but for baseball nerds. I'm not playing this year's one. I'm playing last year's one because I bought it last year. Last year's one, played it for about 20 odd hours, and didn't really play it anymore. But I've actually, because I've bought quite a few of them in the past, so 17, 18, 20, 24.
Yeah. Do they actually allow you to just update the rosters like as a DLC thing? Because some of them do, don't they?
Mate, it's on PC, so it just so it auto updates all the rosters if you want to start a new game. But obviously, if you're already in a game, you can have the settings to do it yourself or update it. And MLB The Show does that as well. But the good thing about excuse me, yeah. So MLB The Show does, every time you launch the game, it does it says, "Oh, do you want to update the live rosters?"
Oh, is that updating the players' stats on their weekly performances?
Yeah,
and I'm sure FIFA used to do that, didn't they?
But it's that, and also what teams they're playing for as well. Yeah. But this Out of the Park baseball is really cool. So so I've got some of the older ones, but I remember, 18 I played for 140 hours. 17, 65 hours. Then 20, I didn't really play a lot, only 20 hours. Then 24, I've only played for 20 hours. But the reason I've gone into 24 and not 25 is because, one, I already own 24. 25 is like 35 quid. I'm not paying that. But it has the rosters from every single year since the beginning of baseball.
Oh, nice.
So
like all the Babe Ruth era and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I've actually started a game from when I was really into it, 2018. It was actually the last year that the Red Sox won the World Series, so I'm actually playing through the 2018 year at the minute and trying to kind of recapture that kind of glory days, you know what I mean? Trying to get the Red Sox to the World Series again in the game. And yeah, it's pretty cool, man, because it's just quite a chill game because you sit there doing the stats a lot and then during the actual game, you don't actually play the game, but it has like a 3D rendering of the stadium and you can actually watch the game play and make decisions like who's going to pitch, who's at bat, you know, making substitutions, stuff like that, or just make it go really quick or just, you know, go to the end or whatever. So that's been kind of my PC game of baseball.
Did you see that? I was going to say, I can't remember if I mentioned this to you before, but I kept seeing loads of stuff online about obviously the Dodgers and stuff this season.
Yeah.
Because they used like a load of the Hollow Live girls as their mascots.
Oh, right. What's that then?
The VTubers.
Oh, right. Did they?
Like the anime VTubers. Yeah, they
What?
had like Gura and like a few of the others like on there, like actually in the stadium and stuff on the screens and things.
Oh, right.
And they're on like some of the T-shirts and that at the stadium.
That's funny as.
Almost like they're like their official like cheering mascots.
That's funny. No, it was quite a it was quite a good World Series this year. I mean, I watched a few of the games, but there was one of them where the fan because the players get really close to the fans in the stands, and there was one of them where the ball was going over the fence, but one of the players, Mookie Betts, put his glove over to catch the ball. He caught the ball, but two of the fans grabbed his arms, opened his glove, and pulled the ball out of his hand, and kept it.
That's a bit.
Yeah, and then obviously they got kicked out. It counts. What did they do? They called it a. I think it was just a double or something like that. They didn't actually grant a home run on that because obviously it was fan interference. So, but those fans got ejected.
My family went out and watched the Dodgers game.
Oh wow, that's cool.
When they went over there a couple of years back, got like a bobblehead of Joe Kelly.
Oh yeah, his picture, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, so obviously that's been going on. So obviously those have been my two kind of games. And no, it's just cool because obviously if you're into your football and you're into your football manager, you know, just imagine that, but for baseball. So, and obviously...
Yeah, because obviously my brother lives in Japan and stuff, and
it's massive
everything, and obviously baseball's huge in Japan.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Brought to them, no doubt, by the US military bases after the Second World War, no doubt. That's my idea, anyway. I'm not too sure if that is the actual proper history, but that's how I can think of an American sport being sort of brought to their country.
Yeah. Yeah. I still think it's wild that MLB The Show's on Xbox when it's a PlayStation Studio game and it's on Game Pass. Because really weird, because whenever you launch the game, it comes up with the Sony Studios kind of intro.
Oh, the PlayStation Studios.
Yeah. So it's really weird.
It's not as bad as hearing the whole Sega startup on a Nintendo, though, is it?
Well, no, but it's still weird. But also, like, I've been playing it quite a bit on my Series S as well, and it looks and runs amazing on that little machine as well. So it's pretty impressive, to be fair. So
yeah, didn't they threaten to, like, the developers to pull the game or something, or stop making it if they weren't allowed to put it on other systems?
It wasn't the developers, because it's San Diego Studios, which are owned by PlayStation. It was the MLB.
Oh, right, for using the license.
Yeah, it said, look, if you want to keep the license, you've got to put it on all systems.
See, I wonder if that also stems to the fact that obviously FIFA kind of pulled their license, didn't they? Hence why it's now just EA Football.
Yeah, but that when they make their own game,
pay them less money. But that license has gone to Football Manager now.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have kind of moaned about the EA Football or Madden basically sort of having the monopoly on that sport for console, because back in the day, I mean, some of them are fine. Like you have, like EA used to do the basketball, and then 2K would do their own version.
Oh, the 2K versions are fucking awesome as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously there was this sort of like back and forth, and now I think I don't really see really. I think it's just the 2K now are the main ones for the basketball, isn't it? And then
Yeah.
hockey and American football, just EA.
Yeah.
I don't see 2K versions of those anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's strange where sports games have gone because it always used to be like back in the PlayStation 2 days, it was always FIFA versus Pro Evo, wasn't it? And there was many years where everyone preferred Pro Evo, even though it didn't have all the real play, like all the players and teams. It just was a better game.
Yeah.
Hugens.
Ah,
You always had like these made up player names and stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Man Red and Man Blue.
That's
was
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
London.
Yeah,
London Blue.
yeah. Oh, those were the days. That's when I used to play a lot of sports games. I used to
Yeah, I
play,
used to play a
you
lot of
know,
sports games back then as well, even though it's kind of funny because there wasn't really that much evolution between games back then. Like we talked about before, like we used to, me and my friends pretty much alternate the WWE games
yeah,
because if you bought them every year, there was like virtually no change.
yeah,
Whereas like if we just alternated them, it was a lot better.
yeah, yeah,
Same
man.
with racing games and that. They've that's another genre of that's kind of sort of similarly disappeared. Like you used to have so many different driving games, and now not as many at all.
Yeah. I mean, like on PlayStation, you get probably one Gran Turismo per console generation now, if you're lucky.
Mm. I
Yeah.
mean, we've had a fair amount of Forzas and stuff on
Of
the
course, yeah.
Xbox, but
Yeah.
we've kind of lost the Colin McRae's and all of that sort of stuff.
I just don't think they sell as well anymore, you know?
What was the kind of EA one that they did that was like mainly stock car racing and things?
Tucker.
No, it's a little later. It was definitely on the 360.
Oh,
I'm sure it was
oh.
made by maybe the people. Grid. It might have been Grid.
Oh, Grid was awesome, man. That was wasn't that Codemasters?
Yeah, I was going to say I was pretty sure it was the same sort of light group behind the old Colin McRae games.
There's a
Which
lot of
for
them.
me, like those old Colin McRae games can't be beat. And I even had this conversation at work with my friend again today.
Yeah.
We got into talking about multiplayer, and obviously we have to mention Graw.
Oh,
And we both pretty much agreed that
so
to
good.
this day, it's still the most fun I've ever had playing multiplayer. And
Yeah.
it was basically almost a launch title for the 360.
Oh,
It came out like
insane.
around March time when the system had only been out about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
And we was just basically saying it's sad, man. Like when you think about it, like nothing's come close to that original sort of experience we had. I mean, yeah, we've had a few close ones like Rainbow Six Vegas and things like that. But he said, like for what you could do, the game modes you had available to you, the amount of players in a lobby, etc.,
Yeah.
and the fact that we could stick that on a Friday night at like 8 o'clock, guaranteeing that probably by 2 in the morning there'd still be 10 of us playing it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's been the same game for that entire extended period of time. We haven't got bored and decided to switch to another game or anything.
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird that you won't see games like that again.
That was Ubisoft at their best. That era. Definitely.
Mm.
When you think about it, it's just like the core mechanics of the game were fun.
Yes.
And then they didn't just remove everything and then want to sell you stuff as microtransactions. And then they forgot to make a good game. You know, they forget to make good games when they make these games where they want you to buy DLC instead.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it,
And the
mate.
internets that people had generally back then were pretty poor as well.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't fantastic.
Yeah.
So you'd have like connection issues and people dropping out, etc.
Yeah, because there wasn't any dedicated servers back then. You were just running off someone's Xbox was hosting it.
No, but yeah, the person who hosted the game, they could change game modes, change maps, like
Yeah.
everything, just at the touch of a button,
Yeah.
and off you went. There
Yeah.
was no mucking around, everyone having to leave and come back again or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much some of the older stuff was more complex than some of the newer stuff we've had.
Well, it goes to show that Ghost
And it's on
Recon.
lesser hardware and like
Yeah.
shittier internet, etc.
Well, the thing about Grawl 2 is there's still people playing it now because it is backwards compatible on the Series X. And when I went back onto it a few months ago, I think I mentioned it on the podcast, there was still some games going, and I joined quite a cool game with, like, you know, quite a few other people. So it's still got a little bit of a following, a bit of a cult following, shall we say, on the Xbox.
But then we've also brought up countless times about the party chat and the death chat room and stuff.
Yeah.
And like that, you can't ever have that again unless you stop people from actually being in party chat, etc., whilst you're playing the game.
Yeah.
Because I think it also added, that whole chat system added a more sense of realism to the game.
Yeah, because those death rooms, it was always like, oh, because you'd always hear, like, if you were dead first, and you weren't looking at your screen, you'd know that someone else was dead because all you'd hear is fuck or shit or oh man, you know what I mean? You'd be like,
almost.
Then you'd be like, oh, you're dead too. What happened? And you have a little chat about your deaths and stuff. Yeah.
And it got you chatting to random people as well. That's how most of us met.
Yeah.
Like most of the people I was used to game with, and just chatting in those rooms and having a laugh. But what's more realistic than being in a war situation and you're talking to your mate about the newest episode of whatever you've watched the night before, and then it's like, oh, he's gone quiet, and then you turn around and you're like, oh shit, he's down, Dave's down, or something like.
Great times.
He's got to be over in that direction, and you haven't got the person who's been killed basically going, yeah, he's just up on the left around the corner.
Yeah, that's it.
Which kind of ruins all of that now. Because obviously we used to do the game mode where it'd be like one versus everyone.
Yeah.
Where one of you would run off and have like a minute head start to go and find somewhere to hide, and then everyone else in the lobby would try and find them. And it was up to that bloke to try and kill everyone before they get killed themselves.
I still think that game it was so ahead of its time. I mean, by the time the game was dying and down, it had over 50 multiplayer maps. You could go onto any campaign mission with like 20 players. You know what I mean? It was just like, you had so much freedom. It was insane.
If you explain this to some of the developers now, they'd be like, what's he been smoking?
Yeah, I know. It's mental. But it works so well as well. Which
or
is
like
the
Halo,
other thing. Yeah.
Well, you'd come out of your Halo game. What do you mean it's recorded the entire game we just had? What do you mean I can go in there and watch the entire match that we've just had, and I can change between players and stop and pause it and move the camera about?
Yeah.
And again, can't do that now.
I love the drone.
Unless you've obviously got capture software and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I guess you probably could, but
I love the drone mechanic in Grawl 2 as well. You could just fly it around anywhere, and you could also flick your camera between any of your teammates as well.
Yes, on your head cam, so you see what they were seeing. See, we used to, because obviously back in the days, like one of the first things when we get in the lobby, it'd be like, turn the drones off, mate, none of that pussy shit. Kind of thing. But then you could just tailor the game to how you wanted to play it.
Yeah.
This is how like many different game modes, like you think of the cat and mouse game modes that have started off in like the racing games.
Yeah, the original.
That was due from people mucking about on the games in the multiplayer.
Yeah, man. Oh, the good old days. What happened, eh? We've gone backwards.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll see a Grawl that goes back to that original kind of thing. But I don't know. I think once you've gone into that open world aspect, you can't really roll it back.
No. Shame, really.
But we were saying, even those old maps, they were pretty expensive. Like, they were pretty big, some of them.
Oh, they were. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh, dude. Making me reminisce now. I'm getting all nostalgic.
Yeah, sorry.
For all that. No, that's what I've played anyway. So, Nick, have you played anything else, mate?
No.
What about you, Darren?
Oh, no, that's it. I basically sort of covered everything.
Cool.
Brief.
Well, let's get into a little bit of news then. So I just wanted to mention, I've got a whole little section about Dragon Age on my notes.
Oh, God. Can't we just let it just go off in the corner somewhere and play itself?
Just let us know.
Right, I just want to mention this because it's been interesting. Like the social media's been going crazy. So Metacritic, it's been funny as fuck to watch. So obviously it got very good reviews at launch. I mentioned the review stuff last week anyway. But the user scores have opened up. It's been heavily review bombed. 3.8 user score compared to 84 on the reviewer score. Um, you know, and now there's more reviews coming out. They've been so obviously there's been a lot of clickbaity ones, obviously on Twitter, on Twitter, on YouTube, but like Extra Life are quite highly regarded. They kind of stay neutral. They put a review out today because they didn't get an early review copy. And they've kind of been a little bit less favourable, shall we say, about the game. But no, there's been a lot of stuff going on, a lot of hate towards the game online, a lot of fighting for and against. So, some weird stuff like this. Just some weird scenes in the game that I've seen online that I just wanted to quickly mention. So there is a scene where the main character comes out as non-binary, and there's this whole dinner scene about them coming out, which is fucking weird. And then there's another scene, you need to have a look at this, where one of the characters misgenders this other character, and then goes through 5 minutes of apologizing for misgendering them, and it's just
No,
like, oh
no, she
my
didn't
fucking god.
apologise. Basically, if you misgender someone, you have to get down and do push-ups.
Well, yes.
I mean, oh, fuck off. I can't do one push-up.
It's fucking weird. And then it's been interesting to see the Steam charts for this. So it's quite a bit to unpack here because the peak for Dragon Age player base has been 89,418 players,
Which isn't bad.
to
be honest.
Which isn't bad. However, when you compare it to other games, it's not great. So if you think about Black Myth Wukong at over 1 million players. So I'm just trying to think now. I did have pictures.
I know Monster Hunter Wilds beta had like almost 500,000, didn't it? But that was just like a free beta, so people are going to try that.
Yeah, you look at Baldur's Gate 3 had 875,343 at the peak. So when you think about it in numbers like that, 89,418 isn't actually as great a number as what people are making out, because you got the positive people who are like, oh yeah, it sold shitloads. Look, it's had a peak of 89,000. But then when you look at it more, like big AAA games usually get around 1 million concurrent people, like in that first week as the all-time peak. 500. I mean, for Dragon Age, personally, I would expect for a AAA game to get over 500,000 easy, as has been the case in history. So actually, 89,418 isn't as great as what you actually think.
To be fair as well, the last Dragon Age game was about a decade ago, so you've obviously got a load of gamers who haven't grown up with that franchise.
Yeah.
Plus, it's probably sold a lot more on console. And then you've probably got sales for it on PC that aren't necessarily on Steam.
Yeah.
Or is it just a Steam game?
No. It should be on the EA app as well, but usually most people on PC buy their games on Steam. And to be fair, Steam stats are quite a good indicator of how well a game has done overall anyway. So, it's, you've got games like even Starfield, which was on Game Pass, had an all-time peak when it came out of 330,723 people Yeah.
And that was the actual Game Pass release, wasn't it? Because it was the early access launch.
Yeah, so that was on Game Pass, and yet 330,000 people were playing it on Steam, so they actually had to purchase the game to play it on Steam, obviously.
Oh, true, yeah.
Yeah. So this is my argument, right? You've got a game here which people could have played on PC for fuck all on Game Pass, but they bought it on Steam at full price, and you had 330,000 people. So, when you think of it in numbers like that, 90,000 is not that great. So I think there has been quite a backlash against this game, and not all for the LGBT stuff, even though it's fucking ridiculous. I think a lot of it has been, people have watched gameplay videos of this, not like the art style, which I haven't particularly liked myself. I thought it's a bit weird, and just
it's not a bad art style, don't get me wrong. I think the game actually looks quite nice. It just looks weird for that to be Dragon Age.
Yeah, it doesn't suit the darkness of Dragon Age, if that makes sense. It's meant to be like a dark, gritty RPG, and it's like gone kind of cartoonified. But no, graphically it looks quite nice. You can't deny that, but it's just the writing of the stories just seems fucking awful. The combat just
it's
looks
all that quippy dialogue, isn't it?
Yeah,
Right.
it's weird. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know, man. And the whole fact of being preached about fucking transgender ideologies, which has been pushed a lot especially on social media, I think has put a lot of people off as well. So, yeah. Quite interesting, really.
I still think it's going to do reasonable numbers. Maybe not as many as EA want, but
no,
it's still going to sell reasonably well. Doubt it'll ever be classed as a failure.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if it actually makes them any money back, because apparently it cost them a lot of money. So
it was in development for years, wasn't it?
About 10 years
used to be called
or something
Dreadwolf,
silly,
wasn't it? It was the original working title.
Yeah. So we shall see. Yeah, that's all I wanted to mention on Dragon Age, and I'm not going to mention it ever again because I'm just going to let it die now, because I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to buy it. Fuck that shit. That's the last thing I'm going to say on that woke piece of garbage.
Someone's going to buy it for you now.
Fucking, so fuck off.
You know what to get you for Christmas.
People like this.
Mate, if someone sends me a copy of that, it'll be given away as a fucking...
Nope, you have to play it, and you have to give it a minimum 50 hours.
No.
It's supposed to be a pretty long game as well, isn't it?
I think so, I'm not sure.
From what I've heard, I think it's a 60-hour odd.
Wow.
I mean, like I said, we've not actually said anything negative about the game. It's just all this stuff put in, which is... Their idea is going to make everyone get on, but if anything, it's just putting more divisions between people.
Well, because people don't...
And you can also think COD's recently come out as well, so a lot of people are playing Call of Duty.
Well, yeah, that's well. I don't really care. I just want to shoot people. I don't want real-world stuff in their games. I mean, do you want to fire up a game? You're like, oh, fucking mortgage rates have gone up again. Oh my god, I better go over and vote for this president. Oh my god, shopping bill's gone through the... Do you know what I mean? You just don't want that in real... You don't want real life stuff in games, do you?
No, and and there's a big... And I was thinking about this. I was talking to someone about this actually, and you think, in the same week, Life is Strange has come out, and that's notoriously one of those games that pushes the same agenda, right? And no one has mentioned it because it's always been a game in that regard, if that makes sense, right? Whereas Dragon Age is a game that hasn't, and it's like they're fondling with games that people have grown up with and loved for what it is, and they've just changed it to a point you don't recognize it anymore. Whereas, games like Life is Strange or whatever, it's always been that way, so no one cares because you know what to expect.
I mean, I've had some like gay people in the story, but it's not
But no one
like
cares. No one
it's just
cares. It's
it
just
was done more
yeah,
tastefully. It's not
yeah.
literally forced down
Hardly
people's
anyone moaned
throats.
about the guy in Final Fantasy 16.
No, that's it. Because it was done
And that
in
was
a
another game that was kind of different from what it used to be,
yeah, yeah. But I
being
think
more sort of action based.
it's just the way they've done this. They've really pushed it. With the conversations and stuff that I've seen online. It's just fucking insane to me. It really is.
Mm.
So.
But yeah, any other news?
Indeed, there has been a little bit of other news, Darren. I can't remember if I mentioned this last week. Excuse me. The Concord studio has finally been shut down. I know Firewalk Studios has officially closed down after the epic failure of Concord. Excuse me.
Purchased, released, and sold within like hardly any
Yes.
time at all.
So yeah, so that was probably the most epic gaming failure of all time. So
Got to be up there.
yeah. Oh, I can't. Did we mention this before the show or not? Anyway, the PS5 Pro. People have got their hands on them already. There's been some unboxings and stuff on YouTube, and there was a setting that I didn't know was coming, but I think it's pretty cool. An option to upscale all PS4 games, which is pretty cool. So,
It
and
doesn't look like it does like major upgrades, but it has sharpened pixels on things like Bloodborne. People have mainly tested it on
right,
in certain aspects. So it is working, but it says on the thing that works with some games as like a disclaimer, because it obviously won't
right,
work on all of them.
right.
So there will be some outliers, and you have to protect yourself legally, otherwise it's false advertising.
Yes.
It means you'll get a load of cool videos of people trying out older games on it and seeing what improvements you get.
Yeah. Another interesting thing about the PS5 Pro is there was rumors. I mean, I don't know how much this was confirmed beforehand, but it was rumors that the PS5 Pro was going to be like 33 teraflops compared to the 10 teraflops of the PS5. That's been
That
debunked.
seems a bit of a sizable update,
Yeah, that's actually
considering.
it's been debunked, and the PS4 can't talk. The PS5 Pro is actually 16.7 teraflops compared to 10.28 of the PS5. It's reported that the PS5 Pro is 45% faster. However, like a lot of that is to do with the AI upscaling of games, not just pure grunt.
And setting aside some other thing, isn't it? Memory.
Yeah.
They've increased that amount that it can be used.
So basically, this article says from the testing we've done so far, there doesn't seem to be too much of a performance difference between the two systems. Even the CEO of PlayStation recently stated that this isn't a next-gen console, so manage your expectations. Darren.
Who thinks it's a next gen console?
Oh, because people are going on online about this is like like a massive upgrade. It's like going next gen and all that fucking ridiculous nonsense.
But we still haven't seen a great deal about it yet. I mean, the next few days are going to be more interesting because you're actually going to get to see people playing the games.
Yeah, of course. I'm sure Digital Foundry will be doing some side by side comparisons and all sorts.
Oh,
So.
no doubt. They're probably like rubbing their hands. This has given them content for months.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Like,
yeah, 100%. So.
and you'll
I
get
think
disappointments and you
Xbox
get
is just.
standouts. Just the way it goes.
What I say, guys, do you think Xbox are just not going to bother with a Pro version now?
I don't think
I
so.
think Xbox have always kind of talked in the past about you basically getting that boost in performance and upgrades via like streaming it whilst you're playing it at the same time. Like they can use the internet, or they want to use the internet to increase the
Yeah, it's like
performance of
what
your
they do
games
with
that way.
it's like what they do with Flight Sim. You know, they stream the world to you, so because obviously it'll be fucking petabytes of data otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, that kind of tech, that's the way I've always thought that they
Yes,
were
we
going to
don't think
go.
they're going to do a console.
no,
They've the
I don't think
handheld
so.
thing, quite possibly,
I'd love to see
but their
them do a
next
handheld.
system will be like obviously just a system, I imagine, just a
It
standard
wouldn't
one.
surprise me if they don't bother, but they bring the next whatever Xbox out a year before PlayStation, like go early again.
Who knows? Who
It was
knows?
kind of cool when they used to do that,
Yeah. Well, that's what put the
because
360
obviously the
so ahead.
360,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it was
that
a year
year or
ahead,
so
but
advanced
then
that, and the price.
PlayStation had problems, didn't they? So that was even longer over here. That was what 18 months over here. Something like I think it was like Christmas 2005 and then Easter 2007, the PS3. So it was a good 18 months or so.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Blooming expensive when it came
It'd be
out as
nice
well,
if
the
they brought some
PS3,
new
and the look
games
of it
on
wasn't
display.
great.
I mean, what is the Christmas game for PlayStation?
Oh, I don't think there is one, is there?
I don't think so. I mean, I know Xbox have got Indiana Jones and
And
Stalker 2 on.
Stalker 2. Yeah,
Yeah,
Stalker
so
2
they've
for this
got a
month.
few.
And they've got the new flight simulator out soon as well, haven't they?
And
But yeah,
Cop, I
the
suppose the
Indiana
Xbox
Jones
as
is
well.
coming to PlayStation, isn't it, next year?
Oh,
I think
right.
next year's could be a really good year for games, because obviously you've got Monster Hunter, Wilds, that'll do really well, no doubt.
I think everything's
Dynasty
going to be.
Warriors Origins, which is January, I think. There was something else I saw that was coming out in January as well.
Just think everything's going to be petrified and get out of the way of GTA 6 in it.
That is going to be interesting to see how far the sheep scatter, we shall say,
Yes.
when they announce an actual date for that, because it would be suicide putting a game out. That would be like an interesting period to have, like, yeah, nothing else releases around like 2 weeks, like a week before or a week after
I mean,
that
if it's
launches.
September, like September, October, whatever, I wouldn't expect a big game to release within the same month of it.
Well, you never know. Stranger things have
It's
happened.
depending, obviously, how they go with GTA. If they go with the way they've always made the older GTA games, in theory, it will probably be a record-breaking game, I
Oh
can
god,
imagine.
yeah. Oh god, yeah. I reckon. I predict it's going to be £100. It'll be the first £100 game.
That would have to offer so much. Like, I know there was like rumours about one of the developers who's worked on parts of the game before, but obviously a bunch of other Rockstar games. Going back, sort of basically saying the AI and the interaction of like the characters and the way the world is going to really surprise people.
I mean, I'm still unsure if we're going to see it this generation of consoles. I'm kind of thinking it might come out next gen.
I
Oh, it'll
think
be
it will
both.
come
I
out
guarantee
just
you it'll be
before the
both.
new.
Yeah,
But
well,
they want to sell it now before they resell it to you again on the next lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't
Guarantee.
see him making it 100 though, Webby, because how many that's
Because
just guaranteed to sell anyway. I think they would, for the amount of people that they might upset who just wouldn't buy it for £100, and the negative press, people are like, well, I'll just wait 6 months because, we had 13 years or whatever since the last
I
GTA
think
5.
they could get away with. I think they could easily get away with 80,
Mm.
well,
Yeah, but
well,
they'll
well. A lot of their
soak it
which
up
money's
in
just puts
some
it
sort of
$10 above like the
ultimate
most
edition or
expensive
something.
again.
well, most of their money's made from the online, though, isn't it? On the current
Mm.
one with the shark cards and all that stuff. So I'm
But
guessing
then
they'll
you could
weigh it
end up
up.
with this game putting out, obviously, like if it does the numbers, then they might see like, oh, we don't need the shark card stuff. Look, we can make this much money off just putting a fucking game out.
Nah, it's not going to happen.
Because
It's
it's
not going to
crazy. Like
happen.
when you think back, you're talking about Rockstar. There were times when Rockstar would release 3 or 4 games a year,
Yeah.
and now you're lucky to get one every like 4 or 5.
That's mental, isn't it? It's
That should
absolutely
tell you how
mental.
much the industry's changed.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to obviously the game production and stuff.
Yeah. All right, last bit of news then is Call of Duty Black Ops 6 has set new records for Xbox and was the biggest launch of the franchise in its history. Ooh. CEO Satya Nadella revealed that the game broke records for day one players and Game Pass subscribers. This is obviously given Microsoft a lot more Game Pass subscribers. The titles.
Well, yeah, they class anyone as a Game
Yeah.
Pass subscriber now, don't they? Because you're a Game
Yeah.
Pass member, no gold anymore.
But also, sales of the game on PlayStation and Steam increased by 60% from last year. Wow.
It's COD. It's just COD. It's one of those ones where even when you hear people moan about it and complain year on year out, oh, it's getting stale, it's doing this, it's still COD. People are going to buy it and play it, just like they do with FIFA or EA football and stuff year on year out. I mean, look at the American football Madden franchise or their EA football things.
I
Like
think
people
have
just
given
buy them
up
even if they're
trying
bad.
to take COD's player base, haven't they? I mean, Battlefield just gave up. Titanfall, for some reason, they put them both together.
Battlefield
That
gave
died
up
a death.
because every time they were coming out looking strong, being like most times like, yeah, that's the stronger looking title, they'd literally pull the pins out their own grenades on their
they fuck
belts
it
and
up
just start
themselves.
shooting themselves in the foot as they stumbled out of the starting block, and you're just like, what are you doing?
So Clarkey says that he's actually enjoying the multiplayer on COD this time round, which is nice to see. So, and he says that he bought Grand Theft Auto 5 twice. I think there's a lot of that because I bought it 3 times.
I think everyone bought it at least
I bought it 4
twice.
times.
Most
OMG.
people,
Yeah, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and PC for me. Yeah. And it still looks great now because I mentioned it in last week's podcast. I reinstalled it to try out the online. The online didn't work for me, but I had a dick around in the city and I was like, wow, this still looks fucking awesome even now.
Yeah,
you know
can
what I
still
mean?
just drive around cruising, listening to tunes and stuff. It's
Yeah.
just like you can just play it as a chill game.
It's crazy, isn't it?
The
Yeah.
amount of detail in those games, though, that's why they take sometimes as long as they do.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely.
Remember Saints Row 2 where you'd actually get like people committing suicide off bridges and stuff?
Lols.
And like streakers running down the road, like getting beaten up by police and things.
We're talking about London.
Maybe.
Oh dear. Cool. On that note, then, guys, I think we're pretty much done.
Cool.
Clarky says my son likes it too. He loves punching people in the face. Should I be worried? I don't know if you're being serious or not, there, Clarky.
Yeah, no, probably not. No, most people know that it's just a game.
He's getting his aggression out on the video games.
Yeah.
Good on him.
Cool.
He's punching the school kids, that's bad. Punching console people, great.
Yeah. Well, then, guys, on that note, I think we're going to end it here. Thank you very much for coming on, Nick and Darren. It's been emotional as always. Big thank you to the people that have stuck with us live on the Twitch chat. You have all been awesome. Wolfman, Dugster, Clarky, to name a few. So from all of us here, it's been awesome. We will see you next week. Goodbye. There we go. Oh, I forgot to mention something as well.
What's that?
I watched the first episode of the Yakuza TV show.
All right, yeah. That's Amazon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not great.
Oh. Yeah.
They fondled the story massively.
Is it Japanese with English dub or is it all Japanese?
So you can watch it with dub or in Japanese with the subtitles. The English voices are fucking shit. So
I like shit English voices.
So yeah, you got that choice, but like I was watching it and I was thinking they were saying, "Oh, this is Kiryu or whatever," and I was like, "This like a little weeny skinny dude." I'm like, "That's not Kiryu I know from the video games." But yeah, they've really like the story. It's meant to be like from Yakuza 0 kind of. Well, it kind of starts off where where there's an orphanage, and I was thinking, oh, this is Kiryu running the orphanage, and there's the kids there, but it wasn't because Kiryu was one of the orphans. I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me. And then it gets on chopping and changing time periods, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on? And then so I went online and read about the story, and loads of people are complaining that they've really like changed the story a lot from the games. It's kind of unrecognizable, and I just like, oh man, as a mega fan of the games, that's just fucking shite.
What's
Yeah,
the
normally, back in the day, if they were making a program or a film about a franchise or something you liked, it was like, yes.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like, oh dear, here we go. What's
So
going to happen?
what's his name who did Resident Evil? Or like going back. I mean, I didn't notice or know until years later. Like when he said, "Okay, yeah, I'll direct Resident Evil, but my wife's starring in it, and I don't want it to have anything to do with the games." I'm like, then why the fuck are you doing it then?
Yeah, it's silly, isn't it?
It does make no sense.
Yeah.
I'm sure the fans will love that. It's not like they're going to turn up expecting something like the thing they know and love.
Well,
I
I mean,
understand fans would go, but just think if they made a Resident Evil game, which was pretty much the first game, in the mansion, the tyrant, the stars turning on each other, blah de blah de blah. Put a few other Easter eggs from later games or hints that the fans would get. So even though it's the same story, the main fans know. We get little hints of other stuff, loads of stuff in it for us. And people who've never seen it, I think, man, that was an awesome movie. But no, just so many idiot people.
Oh.
yeah. So so if you look like, so I looked at the IMDb reviews for this Yakuza, and all the fans are like completely bitching about this. But people who haven't played the games are quite liking it. So take from that what you will.
Yeah, I've got it saved because I wasn't
Not
sure
made
if
for
they
the
were
fans.
all
The old
out.
classic.
Yeah, but they get annoyed if the fans don't fucking watch it and buy it, though.
I mean, because the thing is, like, for me, I've played every single mainline game, soaked in the story, absolutely love it, and this is just a fucking travesty to me. So, yeah, I'm not going to watch any more of it.
No?
Oh,
No.
have you seen the trailer that came out for Showa American Story?
For what? Shower American.
Basically,
What?
Showa American
Never
Story.
heard of it.
So basically, a while ago, before it was around the sort of time of like Project Eve and that, before it was sort of Stellar Blade.
All
I
right.
remember seeing a trailer for this sort of game where you played like an Oriental woman in like a very Japanesey Wild West
All right.
style game. And they released their latest trailer for it, which is like it's got sort of gameplay and other bits in it, but it's kind of introducing you to the characters in the world. And it's every kind of bit of weird batshit crazy you can think of. There's like
Okay.
weird humans that make sort of like transform into mechs and things, like by attaching themselves to the other naked people, and it's just it is
Oh,
very cool. Very different, and it's out next year as well.
cool. Very cool.
It's
I'll
kind
check
of
that.
like something about the America that someone sold the United States of America to Japan. So it's like almost like a second Japan.
Ah, that sounds interesting.
And it's just full of like weird, crazy characters. It's like those crazy old 80s sort of movies you used to get, but like a game. A bit like sort of like when you used to get games like Wet and things like that.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
It's obviously got like over the top violence, cool. Oh, there's zombies in it as well, because obviously why not chuck them in as well?
Yeah. Have you either of you watched the Tomb Raider Netflix show?
Yeah,
No.
I watched it all.
Did you? Was it any good? Because I've not been seeing good things.
Not really.
Like they've made her into a butch woman
Uh,
with
for
with
some
with no
reason, her main
tits.
no,
And
sort of no,
Isn't she like an
sort of does.
apologist for all of the archaeology? Sorry, I did
No,
archaeology.
well, no, it's weird because in her main like Tomb Raider Lara Croft costume, they've done this weird sort of thing to make it look like armor, but it's a top, and it make her look like Abby from The Last of Us a little bit. But also, that's annoyed people. But also, there's a scene with her in a bathtub where you get a bit of side and under boob. So I'm like, how have you managed to fuck both people off? You've made a, you've removed the big triangle titties or whatever and give her nothing. But then when she's in the bathtub, she has got tits. So, and also she's upset because in one scene she's in, I want to say India or something like that, and she's wearing like Indian cultural dresses and stuff.
oh,
They're like,
cultural
oh, well, that's not.
appropriation.
Yeah, and that's a bit like. I know it's people overthinking and getting mad, but it's just, and also the animation is not that clever. A lot of times, especially when they're in open world stuff or out and about, it's like the backgrounds are really fucking low rent, like they're done with like pastel drawings. And then in other places, they're really well done.
Nothing, and like most things like that will get shipped out to multiple animation studios. So some
Yeah.
studio will direct
Yeah,
and
it
do the
looks a bit
action
all over the
scenes,
place.
and
Sometimes it looks
yeah.
wonderful, sometimes it looks meh.
Didn't they make her a lesbian in this as well?
No, it's
Uh,
not as far as I'm aware
Well,
of.
that's what
full
I've
on a
read. That's
lesbian,
what I've
no.
read. I've seen a scene where she's kissing another woman. So, and people are saying that she's a lesbian now.
I think she gave her a
I'm
hug
sure
and a
it might have
kiss
been
on the
AI
cheek. I
stuff.
don't think they were school kid friends that fell apart.
But you can't
and
just
got
be
back
friends
together.
with people.
No, I didn't think
To
that was
this, to
they were
some of these
lesbians.
nut
At least.
jobs, it's
I mean,
like,
to
I
be
know you
fair, her
can't just be
friend did
friends.
have the typical half shaved dived head thing.
Oh,
So
for fuck's
maybe
sake!
that's why
Yeah.
they did that. But I don't know. Apparently, they're making a gay in the next
I'm
game,
sure
aren't
that'll
they?
go down really well. It'll be fine.
Maybe. I mean, a sex symbol to many prepubescent men for decades, and now they've just turned her. And I'm like, ugh. Why can't you make like a new character that's a lesbian that everyone can get behind?
Because it's not a popular character. People will just ignore it and just be like, moving on.
I don't know. I think if they made just a really good game and someone just happened to be like a gay or a lesbian, whatever, and it wasn't forced, it was just what it was, and you were like, oh, all right. But the game was good. I don't think people would reject the game just because of that one
There's
thing. I think
dozens
they
of
reject
games
it.
that have had like characters of different persuasions and whatnot. It's just they were just there.
Yeah,
Nothing
but
was made
nobody
of it.
cares. Think, oh, it's either a really good game or it's a really bad game, and it's just like we said, you don't get brownie points for having that in your game if the game's not very good, or the story's not very good, or the gameplay's not. You've got to have something. But they always have this like. I mean, they went through this. It's not as bad now, but they did through the mid 2000s. This like where they'd have like a scene just out of nowhere, just to shock someone. Wow, he's the biggest, butcher's, manliest man I've ever seen, and now he's snogging someone's face off, like in Lost and things like that. It's just done to shock. That's not. Do you know what I mean? That's not why it's there, is it?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe one day they'll just stop all this shit and we could just have some good games.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Go
Yeah.
back to the good old days.
Yeah.
Or binary domains, things like that.
Yeah, non-binary term. Some of the puns and stuff.
But yeah, I'm gonna chip, guys.
Yeah,
Anyway,
same mate.
I will catch you next week.
Yeah.
Sweet to that, lads.
Later,
Well, I'll
dudes.
talk about the pro, obviously.
Sweet.
See how we get on.
I look forward to it.
All right,
All
catch you later.
See
Cheers.
ya.
Bye.